Became the second high-profile Democrat to launch a bid for Cruz's Senate seat. Gutierrez represents Uvalde, Texas, the same city where a gunman took the lives of 19 elementary school students and 2 teachers last year.
I'm going to stay angry for a long time. You haven't seen what I've seen. You've never seen so much blood in your life. I am angry as hell. And I see these kids when I go to bed at night. I see them in the morning when I wake up.
That was this past May, and now Gutierrez is making the massacre at Robb Elementary School his cornerstone message.
What happened in Uvalde wasn't just about guns. It was about neglect. The neglect of rural Texas. The neglect of the systems in the state that are supposed to keep us safe. That failure hasn't been isolated.
I'm running against Ted Cruz because everything that we've seen in this state has been nothing but taking care of rich people while the poor people, the working class, get screwed over.
My father used to tell me, si trabajas duro en este país trabajará por ti. And that's what I promise to do. Work hard at fixing the real problems of today.
My name is Roland Gutierrez, proud Texan, and I'm running for United States Senate.
Democratic Texas State Senator and candidate for U.S. Senate Roland Gutierrez joins us now. Thanks for your time this morning. So you have been in the Texas State Legislature since 2008. Why now? Why run for Senate now?
Well, I'll tell you, it's been a very hard year, obviously, since May 24th of last year. In a lot of ways, it formulated my decision to run because as all of that tragedy unfolded and the investigation that ensued, really, I had to sue the government to find out what went on, to see all of the failure that happened. And when you look at that failure, it's not just independent to what happened in that tragedy in Uvalde. You saw what happened in Texas when 800 people died in a winter storm. That doesn't happen in most states. Our senator at that time, Ted Cruz, decided to run off to Cancun while the rest of us had to suffer and grin and bear it. Nobody expected him to go out on a utility pole. We just expected to have some empathy and be here with us. And so we've got a lot of work to do in Texas. There's a lot broken, from our grid to women's reproductive right issues to our basic infrastructure to just making ends meet. And certainly on gun control, we need to have some significant gun reforms, which, by the way, most Republicans agree on in Texas, except for the likes of Ted Cruz and others like him.
You say most Republicans agree with it. Texas has some of the laxest gun regulations on the book. I mean, you can open carry, conceal carry without a permit in Texas. Cruz's allies have already tried to paint your Democratic opponent as out of step with the state on gun rights. A criticism that's likely to be levied against you, too. I mean, Texas has a lot of enthusiastic gun owners. Most households in Texas own a firearm. How do you convince Texans that there should be stricter gun laws?
Yeah, I own quite a few myself. I don't own an AR-15. I don't need one. I'm a believer in the Second Amendment, but what we were asking for was to raise the age limit, to create extreme risk protective orders. If you see something and say something, a person's mentally ill and shouldn't have access to guns, we should be able to take those away if they're making threats. Closing the gun show loophole. In the last several polls, 66% of Republican voters said those were good ideas. So I think that the person that's out of touch is really Ted Cruz and others like him that refuse to stand up to the NRA, to just do the basic to safeguard our children. We've got a lot of work to do in this state, but we have to start with talking about the real problems that are facing us.
Yeah, and I'm not exactly